So here students, I have in my hand a Cupamania plant or Cupamani plant. So in any plant, you all know it has two main systems. One is the shoot system above the soil and the system below the soil is the root system. I'll start with the root system. Here you can see the main root that is broad at the base here, and when it goes down it becomes thinner. What do we call that? That's the taproot. And the branches coming from the taproot, they are known as the lateral roots. And from the lateral roots, if you can see the tiny structures here, those are the root hair. Then we go to the shoot system. It starts with the stem here. You can see what are the parts of a stem. The stem is the part that carries the branches, the leaves, flowers, fruits and all the rest of the parts. So here you can see these are the leaves and the structures, and here at these points you will be able to observe the axillary buds. The axillary buds from where the branches or the leaves are produced, and at the tip here is the shoot apex from where the tree grows taller, and here you can see how the leaves and all those are arranged. Then I have another plant here. This is the Monara Kudumbia or the Seedaviyar Sangalanir. Here also you can see the root system and the shoot system, and here you can see the leaves, and also in this stem you will be able to see the branches. Although that's a small plant, you can see the branches here, and the flowers also can be seen. So you can have buds, flowers, fruits, all those as part of the shoot system. So I'm sure you all know all these parts, and we have recalled what you learnt in your previous grade. Okay students, so you all know the function of a plant leaf. They are adapted to do photosynthesis, and they show different adaptations to do this photosynthesis efficiently. To understand that, I have some leaves here. You all are already familiar with these leaves. Now here you can see a jack tree leaf, a mango leaf, then I have a temple leaf, a manioc leaf, and this is something that you have seen. This is aloe vera. So if I take the first four, they are all leaves. And here if I take the jack tree or the jack leaf, you can see it has a broad leaf, that is the area of the leaf has a broad shape, and you can see it's shiny, and also when you feel it, it's somewhat thick. Then if we take the mango leaf, you can see it's thin and longer compared to the jack leaf, and that also has a somewhat thick leaf blade. But if we take the manioc, can you see the shape of the leaf? Like the fingers of your hand, and if you feel it, you know it's very soft compared to the first two leaves. And here I have the temple leaf. That again is very much broader, and it has a slightly different shape from the first four, and it's also somewhat soft here. So these are all different types of leaves. So if we want to understand the nature of a plant leaf, it would be ideal to draw the shape of the leaf blade. So to do that, you need to have a graph paper like this. Then on the graph paper, you need to place the leaf, and you have to draw the outline. So that is the leaf margin. If I draw it with a pencil, here you can see we have to make sure that we get the correct shape. So you might have to press the leaf properly in order to get the correct shape. So this is a rough diagram as to how you are supposed to draw the shape of the leaf. Normally you are supposed to draw it with a pencil. Here I am using a marker pen to make it clear for you all. So you don't draw with a marker pen. This is only to show it to you all clearly. So here you can see it's a broad leaf. If we compare it with the mango leaf, here you can see if I place it on top of this. Now can you see the difference? The jack leaf was very much broader, whereas the mango leaf is thin and long. So if we compare that with the manioc leaf, so here you can see it has a different shape. And if we take the temple leaf, that again the shape varies. So students, you all are supposed to draw all the leaves. I have drawn one. I am just comparing the shapes with you. So this is how different plants show different adaptations in order to do photosynthesis efficiently. So you all know what leaves are and what their main function is and how they adapt themselves to do photosynthesis efficiently. And I am sure you have seen a lot of trees around you all in your environment, and you might have really observed the different shapes and the nature of leaves. So again, to recall what you already know, this is a leaf. You know this is a shoe flower, or what we call as the hibiscus. Here you can see this whole thing is the leaf blade and the outer margin. So that is the leaf margin, and here the leaf margins join at the leaf tip. And here you can see this part is the leaf base, and from the leaf base, the part that attaches the leaf to the stem is the leaf stalk or the petiole. So these are the different parts, and here you can see the venation of the leaf. So from this, you all know different plants have leaves of different shapes, as well as all these parts have different shapes. So here students, I have some leaves as examples to show you all how the leaf blade, the shape of the leaf blade of the leaves vary. So here you are familiar with this leaf. This is Gotukola. In Tamil they call it the Vallarai leaf. So here you can see the shape of the leaf blade, somewhat like a kidney shape or kidney bean shape. So that is a certain type of leaf blade. Then we have the manioc here. So this is, here you can see the leaf blade. It's divided partially, not completely, but partially. So it looks like the fingers of your hand. Then again I have the mango leaf, which you are very familiar with, a thin long leaf blade. Then we have this leaf. Now compare all these four leaves. This is a very large leaf. This is known as Kottamba in Sinhala and Kattapu in Tamil. So here you can see the shape of the leaf blade, a very broad, large leaf. So from that you all can understand that different leaves have different shaped leaf blades. Then if we look at the leaves of the tips of the leaves, here you can see this is a bow tree leaf, Arasa Maram or Arasa Ilai in Tamil. Here you can see the tip is very pointed and elongated, thin and elongated like that. And here I have the jack tree, the jack leaf. You can see that is also somewhat pointed, but not compared to the bow leaf, it's different. Then here again, this is another type of temple tree leaf. Here also you can see this is somewhat pointed. So there are leaves where there is no pointed tip. It can be just a curved tip. It can be pointed, curled, or very sharp tips. But all these three leaves are pointed. Then again you can notice that the pointedness or the sharpness of the point is very much different from one another. So that is again a difference in leaves. Then if we take the leaf margin, you know what this is. This is a bryophyllum. They call it Akapahana in Sinhala and Sadai Karaichan in Tamil. Here you can see these are like this. That is known as serrate leaf margin. Same with this. This is Kuppamania or Kuppaimeni in Tamil. So here also you can see it is a serrate leaf margin. You can compare the different leaf margins. In one you can see the serration more clearly. Here it is visible, but the size and the shape is somewhat different. Then another leaf. This is very much familiar to you, the rose. So that also has a serrated leaf margin. Can you compare the three of these? Here the serration is very much visible. But here, although it's there, it's not really visible, but it is there. So again, if you compare the three leaves, the leaf margins are serrated, but they do look different. Again, a hibiscus leaf also has serrated leaf margin. But if we take this leaf, here you can see there is no serration. It's a smooth leaf margin. So that is what you have to look for. When you look at a leaf, you have to compare. So we have compared the shape of the leaf blade, the leaf tip and the leaf margin. Then what is the other part? The leaf stalk. How that attaches with the leaf. Now here we can compare, again you know the leaves, the bow leaf, then we have the hibiscus, the jack tree, and this is another leaf. So here similar to a lotus leaf, here you can see how the stalk is attached to the leaf base. All three are somewhat similar. From the leaf base, the leaf stalk starts. But here, if you take the leaf base, that is here. If I turn it around, here you can see the leaf stalk is connected to the middle part, not exactly the middle, somewhere in the leaf blade, not at the leaf base. So that is again a difference that you can notice in the leaves of plants. So I am sure students, after looking at all these, I am sure you would have seen many more plants, you would have observed many more leaves. You can understand there is a wide variety in the way the leaves are present in plants. They vary in their shape, the leaf tip, leaf margin, and the way the leaf base is connected to the plant through the leaf stalk. So that gives you a good idea and understanding about the different types of leaves, and these are adaptations to do photosynthesis efficiently. So now you all know the function of plant leaves. They are the main parts that do photosynthesis, and you know that they are adapted to absorb light efficiently and carry out photosynthesis efficiently. So for that we discuss the different properties of the parts of the leaf, how they are adapted. Now we are going to discuss how they are arranged in a stem so that all the leaves can absorb sunlight efficiently for photosynthesis. So for that I have 4 different types of leaves and they all show different types of leaf arrangement. Here I have annona leaf, a guava leaf, then an Alstonia leaf, and this is Kantha, Vattakanni in Tamil. So these are the 4 types of leaves. Now if I take this particular leaf, here you can see one leaf comes from here, the other leaf from here, again another one here. So if you take these 2 leaves, this one is in the middle. So that is an alternate arrangement. They are on either side of the stem and they are arranged alternately. Here also it's visible to you. One here, the other one here. Alternate leaf arrangement. So that all the leaves are exposed to sunlight efficiently. Then here I have the guava leaf. You can see both the leaves are from the same point, the same node, and they are opposite. Earlier it was alternate, now it is opposite. You can see the difference between the 2 leaf arrangements. This is alternate, this is opposite leaf arrangement. Then if we take this leaf, Now here you can see, if I hold these leaves, all these 3 leaves are from the same node and they are arranged in a whorl around the stem. So it can be 3 or more leaves arranged in the same node, and that is known as a whorl arrangement. Even in this you can observe there are 3 leaves in a whorl. So throughout the stem you can see that arrangement. Then the last type. Here you can see this is the plant leaf. All the leaves can be visible. I will explain this arrangement using the stem without the leaf so that you can understand the arrangement clearly. Here you can see one is here, the other one here, the next one here. So they are going in a spiral shape. Now from here goes to this, come here, goes like this in a spiral shape. So this is known as a spiral arrangement. So these are 4 different arrangements of plant leaves on a stem so that they can absorb sunlight efficiently. They are all exposed to sunlight and they absorb sunlight efficiently and carry out photosynthesis efficiently. So now these plants, they grow in different environmental conditions, and when they are in a place where there is very high temperature and not enough water, they adapt themselves, or the plants that are adapted to live in those environments show some special features. Those are the adaptations. To understand that, I have 3 types of plants here. I am sure you know them. This is a cactus, an aloe plant, and this is bryophyllum. So if we look at the cactus, is this a leaf? No. This is the stem. The stem looks like a leaf because it's green in color and it's adapted to do photosynthesis. And what do we call it? The photosynthetic stem. And what we see here, like these dots, those are the spines, those are the leaves. The leaves become spines and the stem adapts itself to do photosynthesis. So we call it the photosynthetic stem. And here you can see the shiny nature of this cuticle, and if you feel the photosynthetic stem, it's fleshy, it's thick. That is because it stores water. The same goes for aloe. And here you can see the fleshy gel-like substance inside. So that is to store water. Then we have the bryophyllum leaf. Again, this is also somewhat fleshy. Although compared to these two, this is a thin leaf blade, but still it can store water. So that is the bryophyllum leaf. So you have seen 3 different plants and how they adapt themselves to reduce transpiration and to store water. So they can grow in environments where there is scarcity of water or high temperature. I have another plant here that is also adapted to reduce transpiration. This is known as Navahandi in Sinhala and Pirandai in Tamil. So here you can see again the leaves. This is the stem that is also somewhat fleshy, and here you can see in different parts of the stem the number of leaves. You can observe clearly the number of leaves are very much reduced. So that again to reduce transpiration. So students, from all these observations, you can see how different plants try to reduce transpiration. Either the leaves become spines or the leaves are less and they become fleshy and the stem starts doing photosynthesis. So we call it the photosynthetic stem. So these are all different adaptations shown by plants to reduce transpiration. Stem are part of the shoot system, and you all know the function. They bear the branches, leaves, fruits, flowers, all the other parts. In addition to that, they do different functions. And for those, they are adapted in different ways. So to discuss that, I have some plants here. Now here we can see the first one. I will take the Gotukola or Vallare in Tamil, the Centella asiatica plant. Here you can see they have very thin stems, and these stems grow parallel to the surface of the ground. So this has a stem that is called the runner. So this is an example for runners, and they reproduce from these runners. So that is one type of plant stem. Then we have the grass plant similar to paddy and all those. They reproduce by suckers. So here you can see these are the suckers. So a grass plant, they reproduce by suckers. So that is also a different type of stem. Then I have the sugarcane plant. You know what sugarcane is. Sugar is made from sugarcane syrup. So this plant, the stem stores food. So here the function, an additional function of the stem is to store food. Then I have a turmeric plant. Now this has an underground stem. Normally the plant stem is over the ground. Here it is below the ground. So it's called an underground stem. Now this stores food as well as it involves in reproduction. The same, even ginger has an underground stem that reproduces. Leeks, there is an underground stem that reproduces. And even onions, this is the stem that is also an underground stem that also reproduces. And they do store food as well. So there are different underground stems which store food as well as they do reproduction. Then here I have a cactus plant. You have seen this before as well. They store water, and because the leaves are spines here, that is to reduce transpiration, these stems do photosynthesis. So we call them the photosynthetic stem. So adapted for photosynthesis. Then you all know, students, some stems like the sugarcane and all the trees, the stems are very, very strong. So they can grow erect and they don't need a support. But there are plants where the stem is very thin and they grow around a certain surface or a substrate. So those stems are called as climbers. As an example for climbers, I have the beetle plant. So here you can see the thin stems and they grow around another surface. And here again I have the manioc plant. That is a plant where the stem reproduces. This is an aerial stem that undergoes reproduction. So from all these, you all know I told you all about stems and then I said underground stems. So that means normally the stems are above the soil. We call them the aerial stem, and if it is below the soil, we call them the underground stems. And they have different functions, and for those functions, they do have different adaptations. So I am sure you were able to observe some of those adaptations here. Now we are going to discuss the different types of roots present in plants. So this is just to show you all the roots. Here you can see the shoot system. From the shoot system, when there is the main root, that is the taproot, and the branches coming from it, the branch roots or the lateral roots, and they have the root hairs. These are the main type of roots. If there are roots coming from any other part or any other part of the plant other than the taproot and the lateral roots, they are known as adventitious roots. So now we are going to look at different types of roots, the taproot as well as the adventitious root, and when they do different functions, they show different adaptations and they are given different names. So under that, first we will look at the tuberous roots. the taproot that stores food. So for that I have two examples here, the carrot and beetroot. Here you can see even the carrot has the shape of the taproot. It has stored food here. You can see the end of the taproot and you can see those lateral roots as well. So this is a tuberous root, the taproot that stores food. Same goes for beetroot. That is also a taproot, that is a tuberous root that stores food. Then we have the next type of root. This is an adventitious root. This is actually a sweet potato plant. Now here you can see these are the different roots. Those start from different parts of the stem. So they are known as adventitious roots, and these roots can store food. So they are again their storage function or storage roots, but the adventitious roots store food. So that is another function of the root. Then there are adventitious roots coming from the branches of plants. For example, if we take the banyan tree, it's a very large tree with a lot of branches. To hold the weight of the branch, there are prop roots. Here you can see they start from the branch, come down and they root into the soil, so they can provide a support and hold the branches and bear the weight of the branch. So these are known as prop roots. So after the prop roots, I have another type of adventitious root that forms from the stem. I am sure you will know this plant. This is a rampe plant. Here you can see this is the stem and there are these roots, all these parts, the roots coming from the stem. And these are known as the stilt root. Now this grows in a mangrove environment where the soil is muddy and not very strong. So in order to hold the plant in the correct position, these stilt roots are there in the plant. They hold on to the soil and hold the plant erect. So that is again another type of adventitious root. So again I have another type of adventitious root. Now here you can see this is a beetle plant. It has a very thin stem. So it grows around another, either a plant or another part where, or say a wall. So to hold on to that part, the other tree maybe, it needs to have the climbing roots. Here you can see in different parts of the stem, it has the climbing roots. So this helps to hold on to the other tree or the wall or any other component around which the plant is going to grow. So this is also an adventitious root which is called the climbing root. Then there is another type of root known as the respiratory root, where again in mangrove environments the plant root cannot respire. There is too much of water in soil, so there is not enough oxygen. So because of that, the respiratory root grows above the water level and it can respire from the environment. Soneratia is an example for respiratory root. Then there is another type of root. Now you all know this is an orchid plant. So these are plants which are known as epiphytes. Again, they grow on a higher surface, higher elevation, so that they can obtain enough sunlight. So then normally the roots, when they root into the soil, they absorb water and minerals for the plant. Now here the orchid, the epiphyte is going to grow at a higher elevation, not in the soil, or you might have seen it hanging from different places. So there are these aerial roots. Now these roots are adapted to absorb moisture from the atmosphere. So they absorb moisture and provide it to the plant. So this is an aerial root. And finally, I have the normal root that is there for reproduction. Reproductive roots. Now this is a curry leaf plant, a small plant, but you would have seen the large curry leaf plants near the plant from another place. The root comes out of the soil and that produces another plant. So they are reproductive roots. So that is again a different adaptation shown by roots. So from all these examples, students, you all can understand the main function of the root is to root the plant into the soil, absorb water and minerals. So that is the main function. Apart from that, the root carries out many other functions and accordingly it has different types of adaptations.